Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank everybody that is attending for our D3 Virtual University 2017. Session 2, we're going to go through what's new in 2018 software. If you weren't able to set in Session 1 yesterday, there should be a recording that'll be sent out to you if you are interested in either the Inventor 2018 or Fusion 360, the new product that Autodesk introduced that's mostly cloud-based. So let's go ahead and jump in. And the agenda that we have for today, the first thing that we're going to do, I'm going to talk about the Autodesk changes, which is the collections that most of you have either seen or you might actually be participating in the collections right now. After that, we'll get into more of why you're probably here, which is to see what's new in Vault 2018. Kim Hendricks will be presenting that, which is our specialist in Vault. Second, we'll jump into the generic AutoCAD and all of the improvements that was made in the 2018. Jason Dilbeck will be going through that with us. The third one will be AutoCAD Electrical, what has developed in the past few years, and along with what D3 can offer with that. Thomas Smith, our specialist in electrical, will be presenting that. And then the last thing that we'll follow up with will be AutoCAD Plant 3D and PNID. And Jason Dilbeck will also be presenting that, which is our current specialist on that software. And then at the end, I'll wrap it up at the end with just some finishing comments. Okay, so I wanted to jump into the industry collections and just talk a little bit about why Autodesk went this path and what's different about from the suites that we have seen in the past. The first thing, there really is a greater value in the collections over the suites that we was offered. If we read that, a wide range of essential tools provide value exceeds the premium suites. Really, it's one suite for one industry. And when we get into the software, which is a slide later, you'll kind of understand why it makes so much sense to go with the collections. It really, truly is a greater value over trying to buy individual pieces of software. With the 2018 year, with the collections, the licensing, it's really a more flexible choice. Single user, multi-user subscription is how it's based now. It gives you the ability to switch software to run software on a short time basis, or to even switch between products a little more flexibly if you decide that AEC fits you better than a product design collection. Also, the single user subscription, it's very unique on the way it's set up, but either one of these, single or multi-user, really, I want to say it helps with your compliance. It's far harder to be non-compliant on a single user or multi-user. So it really does benefit a company as far as worrying about license compliance. The third and last thing, I apologize, I've got the caption there wrong. It is one collection per industry. And where that really helps us, if you were looking at product design suite in the years past, there used to be a product design suite standard, then there was a premium, and then there was an ultimate, and you had to figure out which suite was the right one for your industry. We don't have that now. Collection, the product design collection, which is the majority of what our customers will be utilizing, it is just one collection. That collection has the software that you need. Even if you're on the factory design side, it has the software that you need. It's pretty amazing what they put into these for the value of what you're paying. So if we jump into the product design collection, this is the software that's currently inside of our collection for product design. You'll notice that we've got Inventor, we've got the new product, excuse me, that Ryan Johnson kind of introduced to us yesterday, Fusion 360. We've got several of the AutoCAD verticals that includes electrical and architectural and mechanical, Navisworks. But if you also notice, you get the factory design. So in the past, you would have had to either had factory design suite or you'd had to have product design suite. The product design collection combines those. So it really is a great value to have that factory design inside of the product collections. We still get Vault Basic, 3ds Max, Recap Pro, and then there's rendering and cloud storage with that. Once again, that's in the product design collection. If we look at the AEC collection, you're going to notice that there's some titles here that we are actually presenting the what's new today on. But the AEC collection, just to highlight a few of those, we have Revit, several of the AutoCAD verticals that include civil, electrical, architectural, plant, map, and MEP. Also with that, you get 3ds Max, recap, and also some cloud storage. You will notice that in the AEC collection, one of the products that we have is AutoCAD Electrical. That's almost unique for the AEC industry, but they found that customers found it as a need to have the electrical. So we're definitely proud to offer services around that, and Thomas Smith is our specialist for that software. Plant, which is the other one that we'll be talking about today with Jason Dilbeck. We have always supported our plant customers well, so hopefully you'll find some value in the tools that they introduced to you today on both of those suites, or both of those pieces of software. Okay, with that, I am going to switch it over to Kim Hendricks. Kim will be introducing all of the new components of Vault.
I will be, since I share my screen. Hope it is. All right, are we seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so some exciting stuff in data management, particularly Vault for 2018. And I'll go through those rather quickly, but my short agenda is PDFs, custom jobs, some additional security roles, the inventor add-in enhancements around data management, and the application version file property. Those are my top 5. Covers most of the new stuff. There's some back-end stuff, but covers most of the new stuff that we'll see. First is PDF creation. It was a #1 on the Vault Ideal Station for the last 3 years. So they finally have incorporated it into the client. So you can not only create DWIFs, which has been the viewable file for years with Vault, but you can also create PDFs on a lifecycle change. Note this is only available in professional and workgroup versions because it requires a job processor. It creates a PDF on a lifecycle change to a released version only. It stores the PDF in a defined folder or along with the original file. It creates an attachment link to the original file so that you can always see that they're related. And then the PDF revision will be the same as the revision the file is. And then if you take your file back through the lifecycle again and bump the rev, it will actually overwrite the PDF but give you the same version history as if the original file was there. So just a little side note, if you create a brand new Vault with the 2018 software, it's already configured in there. If you are an existing customer and you're upgrading from a previous version, there is some configuration that's required to make that work. And it looks like I just threw a little sheet in there. You can see that it puts the PDF right underneath the file and it puts it as an attachment. So, and then the revs match. So that was PDFs. Custom jobs on lifecycle change. If you are somebody that tinkers, programs, writes custom stuff, in the past to put in a custom job in the lifecycle exchange, you had to download the software development kit and use a special software to be able to put that in there. Now they've put custom jobs right inside the lifecycle transitions so that you can add them. Whoops, sorry about that. You can add them right in there with your lifecycle work. So from review to released, I have a custom job created that's a sample create PDF from some older stuff that I had. So it's right there inside there, and we don't have to have extra software running to do that. After that are some new security roles. These are big because in the past, you've had to be an administrator to be able to like maybe delete a file that has some that a normal user can't delete. You would have to overwrite those things. You'd have to be a full administrator. And if you're a full administrator, you have full rights to all the security and the usernames and lifecycle changes, and you may not want your users to have that. So they created some additional security roles. One is a project administrator, and this is my favorite one. This lets you do some conditional and unconditional deletes that previously an administrator had to do. It lets you take a version out of the loop if it was somebody messed it up or you just don't want that one to ever be seen. You can do unconditional deletes. You can manage the job queue and not have to be an administrator. So you can delete files that are jobs that are in the job queue that shouldn't be there. You can delete folders and do this. So that's just a project administrator. It lets you have a little bit more control on the files without having control on changing whatever the security roles are. The security administrator is kind of the opposite of the project administrator. Without giving them full administrator, it gives them administrative rights over files, folders, items, custom objects, so that they can do and modify those cloaked things that are typically hidden to the most users. So that's your security administrator. And then the last one is a configuration administrator, which, so you don't have to have a full administrator right to be able to modify your lifecycle behaviors, or your definition, or enable job queues, or units of measure, or different things like that that just let you do configurations in your files and folder structure that maybe a full administrator doesn't need to do. Watermark definitions, you know, that kind of stuff. It lets you set a person to do that kind of stuff so that the main administrator doesn't have to do every role, and lets you control theirs. And just a little side note, hopefully coming out in the next ones, we'll be able to do custom roles. They're working on that now, so no guarantees on that, but hopefully custom roles will come out soon, which will even be a step beyond this. And then the inventor add enhancements are really cool. There's a couple things so in the past you've had to like go right here and switch between model and vault, and you can only have one of them open at a time, and now you can just hit this little plus sign, and you can have your model browser, your vault browser, your project browser, and you can set them all in different windows like over on your second screen. So it's a detachable vault browser. We also have a new feature that I like a lot. So I can right click on one of these files in here, and I can say go to the vault folder. So it actually would open my vault client and show me where that file is in the browser. So I didn't have to go search the browser if I wanted to. We've always been able to go from the vault and say go to my working folder, and it would open my local working folder and show me where that file is. But now we can go the opposite way from Inventor, which is very handy. The other thing which is handy is insert into CAD. So from your vault client, if you're on a file, say you have an Inventor assembly open, and you're digging through your vault and you find the part that's used in a bunch of assemblies, and in the past you would have to get that and then go to Inventor and insert it into your assembly. Now you can right click on the file and say insert into CAD, and it will put it in your open document in Inventor for you. And so it just saves a step from that. So that will, and a bit of caution on that, it will insert it into whatever document is currently open and currently active in Inventor. So you just have to be sure you're in the right one, and then it'll do it. Okay, and then lastly is the application version file property. This is kind of big because sometimes you maybe want to keep a file in an older version, and you'll know in your properties what version and build that was built on. So if you don't want to upgrade it on purpose, maybe a customer needs that file in 2017, and you know with Inventor you can't really go back, and so you want to keep it in 2017 or know what it is, that's a new property that's available. So anyway, that's the new stuff in Vault. It's pretty quick. The big one is the PDFs, and we can certainly help do those configurations if you need. And I think Jason is up next with standard AutoCAD. So Jason, I think I have to make you presenter.
Yes.
Let me see if I can do that right here. Make presenter. All right, Jason, it's all you.
All right, can you see my screen?
Got it.
I think we're on the wrong screen now.
Wrong screen. There we go.
There you go.
How about that one?
There it is.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Jason, and I'm excited to show you what's new with the AutoCAD 2018 software. On the agenda for today, we'll go through some exciting new features, SHX text recognition, some external reference enhancements, the share design view, some new object selection additions they've added, user interface enhancements, the AutoCAD mobile app, and more. Let's go ahead and get started here. First up, we have the SHX text recognition. If a PDF file is imported into the drawing file, the original SHX text is imported as geometry and it's not recognized as text. That makes it difficult to edit. Note this geometry that I'll have here that I need as a text object, this purifier unit. In AutoCAD 2018 now, we are offered an SHX text recognition tool. After setting the appropriate values, we're now able to use the select import PDF geometry representing the SHX text and convert it to the necessary text objects. Now it's a text object and it's ready to edit. When we use this feature on multiple lines of text, though, they are separate text objects. But with the new combined text tool, which is originally from the Express tools, we can combine individual text objects into a single mText object. Now this mText is ready to edit. The new collaboration enhancements for external references. In AutoCAD 2018, we can now reduce issues caused by broken reference paths. When attaching an external reference file to an AutoCAD drawing, the default path type is now set to relative path instead of full path. The contextual menu of the external references tool palette offers two new options when right-clicking on the reference file. Note the current type will be grayed out. Nested references now display as orphaned if their parent reference is unloaded or not found. Additionally, our select new path, again in the contextual menu with our external reference tool palette, this feature allows you to browse to a new location for the missing reference file and then provide you with the option to apply the same new location for the other missing references. New Find and Replace. Find and Replace locates all references that use a specified path for a reference or multiple references selected and replaces all those occurrences with the path, with the new specified path with just a few simple clicks here. Continuing on with collaboration, let's talk about the Share Design View. The Share Design View has been improved in AutoCAD 2018. This allows you to publish views of your drawings to the cloud to collaborate with stakeholders and protect your files in the process. Stakeholders can view the design, but they don't need to log into A360 or even have AutoCAD installed. Just invite them and they'll have access to the design. This should help you feel comfortable sharing the design with anyone. By default, though, those uploads are only available for 30 days in the Share Design View. Now, however, you can extend Design View for an additional 30 days at a time. Now for some object selection enhancements. How often have you started selecting objects in a drawing with the window or crossing selection and needed to pan and/or zoom to get to other areas of your design? When you did, you would lose those selected items that were no longer in that view. Now with the new system variable selection off screen turned on, you can begin a selection window in one part of the drawing and then pan and zoom to another part while maintaining the selection of those off-screen objects. This will be a big time saver. Line type gap selection. Line type gap behavior is enhanced to support complex and DGN line types now. We can snap to complex line types by picking in the gaps between the geometry. Some new user interface enhancements. When you open a file and change the sort order by date, for example, AutoCAD remembers the setting now. The setting will be the same the next time you open a file, even after you exit and come back to AutoCAD. Now I'm still sorting by date. Additionally, you can adjust the size of the drafting settings dialog box similar as you would other dialog boxes, allowing you to view information that may have been previously hidden. The RGB color input. Now in the select color dialog box under the True Color tab, we have support for RGB color values. Use the comma separated values to get the color you need. Quick access toolbar. The layer control option is now part of the quick access toolbar menu. While it is turned off by default, you can now set it to display in the toolbar. Use this as you would use the layer control in the home ribbon without the need to constantly go back and forth to ribbons just to change the layer information. Take advantage of some other great tools you frequently use by adding them to the quick access toolbar. Here I've added the workspace switching control. AutoCAD introduced the system variable monitor in 2016. It is a useful feature that lets you know when a system variable has changed, but you needed to open the dialog box to restore it. Now you can right-click on the icon in the status bar and reset the system variables. Now back in the monitor dialog box, we can see that the system variables are back to our defaults. Rubber band line control. Before, our rubber band line color in AutoCAD was unchangeable. In AutoCAD 2018, we can now control the color of the rubber band line along with other interface elements. You can access this control through the Colors button of the Display tab in the Options dialog box. Now I've changed the rubber band line to red. Now included AutoCAD mobile app, which is a drawing and drafting tool that lets you create, view, edit, and share your AutoCAD drawings on mobile devices, anytime, anywhere. Also, we have a new DWG format. The DWG format has been updated to improve for improvements in efficiency of the open and save operations, especially with drawings that contain annotative objects and viewports. Additionally, 3D solid and surface creation is now using the newest geometric modeler, which helps improve security and stability. We have high-res monitor support. It continues to be improved in AutoCAD 2018 to ensure the best possible viewing experience even on 4K displays or higher. Commonly used user interface elements such as the Start tab, command line, palettes, dialog boxes, and more are appropriately scaled now and display as per the Windows setting. The new Regen 3 command regenerates the views in the drawing to repair anomalies to the display of 3D solids and surfaces. When a 3D display problem occurs, Regen 3 rebuilds all 3D graphics in the display views, including all 3D solid and surface tessellations. Some additional great features in AutoCAD 2018 are the 2D display performance enhancements, the 3D navigation improvements. We now have Bing Map 8.0 support, and more. Before we wrap things up, though, let's make sure to stay up to date with our Autodesk Desktop App located on our system tray. Download the latest updates, as well as get direct access to the Autodesk Knowledge Network, blogs, forums, and even share ideas. And that's what's new with AutoCAD 2018. Let me switch things over to Thomas. Thomas, make your presenter.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Let me get my screen going here. Can we confirm that everybody's able to see my screen okay?
Yes.
All right, great. Well, I just want to start by, thanking everybody who's on the webinar today for taking time to join us today and take a look at what's new in all of the Autodesk product line. So my portion today is we're going to take a look at controls and electrical design for 2018 and discuss what's new. My name is Thomas Smith. I'm a solutions consultant with D3 based out of our Denver office. I focus primarily in controls and electrical design. I was previously, before coming on with D3, a controls designer, and since being on board with D3 just over 5 years now, have primary focus on electrical and controls design. So as far as today's agenda, we are going to look at covering AutoCAD Electrical 2018. Inside of AutoCAD Electrical 2018, we're going to look at some continued enhancements in the areas of the electrical audit command, the item numbering command, the electromechanical integration into Autodesk Inventor, and then also continued with the new SQL database offering for the catalog and footprint databases. I would also like to take a moment while we're on today to discuss what is new with our D3 electrical service offerings. So we have some new packages available that I'm excited to introduce everybody to this upcoming year. All right, so jumping into things, AutoCAD Electrical 2018, the first thing I want to talk about is an enhancement to the electrical audit tool. For those of users who have seen this or might be unfamiliar with it, this tool is there to help you run a report against your project to catch common errors such as unconnected wires, duplicate tags, duplicate wire numbers, missing part numbers, etc. In the past, when running this tool, we would see a list of what AutoCAD Electrical viewed as an error. However, sometimes within certain design scenarios, a controls designer or engineer might intentionally design something in a manner which the software would dictate as an error. Previously, we would just have to mentally ignore those. In the newer releases, we have the ability down here, if you see marked with the number 1, we can mark those issues now as ignored. The status column will change to give us a prompt that these issues are no longer a valid issue and are ignored. And then ultimately now we have the ability of directly hiding those. So what you see here is the full report for the project. And then once I click hide ignored issues, you'll see down here in the graphic in the lower left that looking at the same report, I am only displaying those issues. This just declutters the electrical audit tool and allows us to focus on what truly is an error and not what was an intentional design scenario. Continuing on with AutoCAD Electrical, we had some enhancements coming on the item numbering side, specifically with the item number resequence tool. In the new releases now, drawings are no longer activated. This definitely increases performance against large projects. Previously, anytime we needed to adjust or resequence those item numbers project level, each drawing in that project would have to be activated in order to sequence those project numbers or those item numbers. That no longer happens, greatly reducing the amount of time and performance increase when running this utility. Some other enhancements kind of behind the scenes, item numbers are now synced across the project to keep item numbers that are linked for components sharing similar part numbers. So on the project level, we can define if part numbers or item numbers are going to be shared for components with part numbers on an individual part number basis. Manufacturers now are also processed against the entire project and not just a single DWG. So again, these are just some background enhancements that will just lead to a better experience when running the resequence tool and ultimately, making us more efficient. Another enhancement, I guess, along these lines comes with the balloon settings. We now have the ability to come into the panel drawing configuration directly inside of a DWG and make a modification to our balloon settings. Say if we're going from a circle to a hexagon or vice versa. We now have the ability, as you see here in this graphic, to select and apply to all the balloons in the drawing. So this will immediately take effect. So your changes are implemented immediately. You no longer have to go individual balloon or remove the balloons and re-balloon your items. Again, saving us time in the long run. Okay, so getting into the electromechanical integration, this is where we've continued in the past releases and with 2018 continued to see some enhancements. The electromechanical tab or feature of electrical is the mechanism for where we integrate into our 3D mechanical. So through the electromechanical tools, we have the ability of linking our AutoCAD electrical project to an inventor project, allowing collaboration between our electrical and mechanical teams. So, this has been a big emphasis as more companies are looking to go to 3D panel enclosures. Some of the benefits we're seeing from that is being able to truly calculate wire lengths when routing into our enclosures. This will help reduce waste, when cutting wire or even ultimately using a wire cutting machine to reduce and save money as a benefit. And then also just having a better feel for the space and interference, and a 3D model is much more reliable than a 2D. So we see more customers going that direction, and these electromechanical tool enhancements will definitely help make that process smoother. So one of the first enhancements I want to talk about within the location view of the electromechanical integration is that we now have a project level node. What this allowed us to do versus previous releases is where we were previously limited to a location or installation code per that project, and we couldn't see outside of that node. We are now able to select the project file on the top of the location view, then when expanding the details and connections area, we are getting a true project level report that we can export. So previously you were limited to either a location or installation code specific within that project, and now we can see across all installation and location codes if needed for that project export on electromechanical. Continuing on electromechanical, on the location view tab as well, we are now able to link directly to a component from AutoCAD Electrical. So what you're seeing in this top graphic over here is the location view tab. I'm able to right click on a component that has been defined in Inventor, and in my right click contextual menu, I have options such as insert from the catalog browser, assign to existing component in the tree, and also assign to an existing DWG. We would see this kind of functionality on the Inventor side in previous releases. When we had accessed a similar location view tab within the Inventor software, we'd have the ability to do this. Now that can come from both directions. So it's bidirectional linking we have now available in AutoCAD Electrical. Also, what's nice, directly from the location view tab, when you have a defined connector, when right-clicking on that connector out of the location view tab, we have the ability to insert and wire the connector directly from here. So we no longer have to go out and start the connector command, insert connector command separately. Simply by right-clicking here, selecting insert connector from list, I'm prompted with the connector selection dialog box, allowing me to make my specifications, saving me time and an additional step of having to separately run the insert connector. All right, and so our last product enhancement for the AutoCAD Electrical 2018 comes again with the SQL database offering. Now, this is not new for the 2018 release, but this has been continued on, and I just want to make everybody aware that this tool exists and some features within that. So, for those of you who do not know, in addition to the standard Microsoft Access databases that AutoCAD Electrical has for the catalog and footprint, we are now able to create and utilize a SQL database for that. So you have the flexibility of jumping between either Access or database at any time. And what kind of a little unknown tidbit on that is during software installation of the AutoCAD Electrical software, so when you install 2018, there is an additional tool that you will need to install if you choose to use the SQL database. That tool is called the Autodesk Content Migration Utility. Again, you must separately go to the additional features and select to install this utility. Once the utility is installed, it will create a desktop icon. You can then launch the icon and it'll open up the utility. From here, you can create a new SQL instance and then migrate your existing Access databases for the footprint and catalog up to your SQL and then begin utilizing it. And then you also have an option here for migration of previous data if you already had an existing SQL instance created. So again, I just want everybody to know that this utility does exist and it must separately be installed during installation in order to take advantage of this migrating from the Access to the SQL version. Continuing on with the SQL setup, we also have within the software itself, so we're inside AutoCAD Electrical on our project tab, we have a configured database option. That'll open up the dialog box you see here. In a standalone environment, we have the ability to switch back between Access and SQL. So I can jump between databases quite easily just by selecting it here and applying these changes, but it allows some configuration options in here once the server instance has been created and specified. If you're looking to do this for the first time, you're probably going to want to get with your systems administrator, your IT team, to help you with the server instance and authentication as far as the credentials you might need in order to access and get onto your SQL instance. I do want to point out that this tool is currently limited to the catalog and footprint databases. So the other databases, the PLC database, the project database, etc., are all still Access database driven. So currently we are only looking at the footprint and catalog database. Along those lines, in an Access database setup, you had the ability to specify a primary and secondary database. If you utilize a SQL database, you can only have one defined primary database. So I just want to point that out. You do not have the ability to have a secondary database on SQL. However, in this mode here, you're able, if I am on SQL and I needed to access my secondary database, I could easily toggle back to my Access database and grab my information from there. So that is, again, the continued SQL offerings, and gives users and companies another level and another option when setting up their database. Okay, so moving on to AutoCAD Electrical Services and what D3 has to offer. So I'm excited to announce these new services offerings that I'm about to roll out. For some years, myself and our electrical team and instructors and technicians have been listening to the issues and the frustrations that our customers are having through tech support, coming through training, etc. So we have been trying to hone in on those frustrations and what can we do to help eliminate that. And that's where we came up with our electrical services. So we now offer a full electrical implementation service. This is set for companies who are taking on the software for the first time, or who maybe had it in place but have never fully got it set up within their workflows. Essentially, D3 comes out, we sit down with your entire design team and we hash it out, how you perform your electrical designs from start to finish. And we look at a holistic overview. You guys tell me your frustrations, your pain points, your bottlenecks, etc. I take note of all that. I then, spend some time developing a plan for success, how to get you from point A to point B, and meet those gains, efficiency gains you're after, and your goals for your team. I would then present an implementation plan back to you, the company. We would agree on the steps, and then we move forward setting that up. So this is, again, a complete implementation of the software, and also everything you needed to get off the ground working within your workflows, essentially having the software work for you instead of vice versa. We also are happy to introduce electrical adoption. So adoption is put in place kind of after an implemented environment. So either D3 has set up your software or you have set up your software. Adoption is set up to help train your team or work with your team to fully adopt the workflows, the custom workflows, into their daily routines. Under the electrical adoption, D3 can assist with things such as database migration, library definition, library creation, modification, and definitions. We can do custom symbols, conversions, etc. We also do workflow definitions. So if there's processes that you want to, standardize for your company and your design team, you can work with D3. We can bring our industry best practices that we've known and observed throughout the years and through various customers, and get those documented for your team so we can have real defined workflows, and again, help in that efficiency. But adoption is set out there again to help formalize your team and work with workflows in the implemented environment. We also offer a networking service. This is where we take all the default AutoCAD electrical libraries, database, support files, etc., and we move those off the local drive and into a network. The benefit of this is when you have a multi-user environment, out of the box, AutoCAD Electrical is all local. So anything new and custom created is user specific. With an electrical networking, D3 comes in, we move all the required files to a defined network location. We structure it in a manner defined by us, and then we present the well-documented plan back to you, defining how exactly your environment is set up and instructions for new user setup. We also modify the software itself through an environment file change to path and work within your network. We also offer an upgrading service. So if you've been networked or have an implementation and are looking to go to a new release, then we can assist with that. We will migrate all databases with that, ensure that everything works within your defined workflows within the new software, and also offer what's new training per that release. And then, as always, we do have our electrical training offerings. We have a fundamentals level training. We also offer advanced training, and coming shortly, we are going to be rolling out our electrical curriculum into our Evolve program. Our Evolve training program allows users a more flexible training schedule with shorter, more specific classes per topics, that are more in line with the customer needs. So be looking for those. And again, if you have any questions about anything electrical, you can reach out to any member of the D3 team, or you can reach out to myself. There is my contact information if you'd like to take my email. Again, you can reach out to me or anybody at D3 with questions regarding electrical and our service offerings. All right, well, that is my portion. I want to thank everybody again for their time, and I'm going to pass this back off to Jason, and he will be talking Plant 3D.
Hello, I'm back again. Are we seeing the correct screen?
Yes.
Good. Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm back again to show you what's new for the AutoCAD Plant 3D 2018. Before I get started, though, I did want to mention for those of you that are unaware, the P&ID product is no longer available as a separate product. I just want to make sure that that's out there and everybody is aware that it is built in and part of the Plant 3D software. So I will be going over the new features with the P&ID, but just again to make you aware that it is no longer sold as a separate software. My agenda for this portion is covering the Plant 3D and some new features with that, our BIM 360 collaboration, some simplified workflows we've added, new 3D model instrumentation support, P&ID improvements, as I mentioned, and more. So first, let's get started with the new collaboration tools within Plant 3D. You can now share your project to the cloud and invite others to work collaboratively on your project. This takes advantage of the BIM 360 to store the project and invite team members. Once the project is uploaded to the cloud, you are free to share, work, collaborate. Notice the BIM 360 graphic at the front of the project name in the project manager to indicate that this is now in the cloud. Right-click on files to check them out and prevent others from editing them. When complete, check them back in and give access to your new design. Some simplified workflows. They simplified the workflow and made attaching external reference files much easier through the Attach External Reference dialog box. Copies of the external reference are now downloaded and links maintained back to the BIM 360 folder. Access the external reference list for a file as a tree view by right-clicking in the project manager. Piping specs in the project manager. You can now manage your pipe specs through the project manager. Copy the specs, check them out, edit them locally, and then check them back in for the others to use. Project backup. On any Plant 3D project, SQLite, SQL Server, Vault, or even the new collaboration, you can save a local backup of the entire project, complete with the SQLite database. This could be used to move a Vault project to a cloud collaboration project, for example. With the new Project Manager search, a full project drawing search will help drafters and designers get to their drawings faster. Disconnect marker drips. Drips have changed from a 2D to a 3D graphic, and the orientation of the drips are now always down, as they used to be displayed sideways on vertical pipes. Now we have 3D model instrumentation support. A new instrumentation catalog and spec have been added to Plant 3D. You can modify or create new instrumentation items into this new catalog and spec, as well as now we'll go and use our new tool palette for the instrumentation spec. You can select instrument items the same as you would select piping items and add them to your 3D model, like this pressure gauge. Now let's create an isometric drawing. You'll see that these new instruments are added to the ISO drawings as well. The isometric representations are linked directly within the spec for these new items. Let's take a look at some P&ID improvements. The P&ID Painter. Now you can display P&ID components in a color that matches pipeline group property values. For example, paint by size. You can also create custom paint styles in the project setup. Create a style name, a property to assign the color based upon, and then choose the colors to use for each property division. A custom style can also fade lines by using transparency that are correctly set to help highlight the red lines. When complete, then simply switch to use the new style. Spec-driven P&IDs. As a default, the standard P&ID spec values have no connection to the Plant 3D pipe specs. But now with this new option, we can find out if P&ID piping is in spec or out of spec and get component information all from the same pipe specs that are used in the Plant 3D. In the Tools palette, non-spec items are shown as shaded, as well as shaded pipe sizes within the pipe size selector. Note in the drawing, the red items will be out of spec. Off-page connector improvements. Plant 3D now supports connecting instrumentation or signal lines with off-page connectors, which work the same as the process lines. Additionally, Plant 3D now supports connecting lines within the same drawing. Here I'll connect 2 pipes with the connection number 5. Whoops, back one. Some additional features included is some vault improvements. Plant 3D has incorporated a lot of what's been done in collaboration into the vault workflow to make using vault simpler. 3D graphics performance enhancements, as well as the features we've addressed so far. Autodesk worked hard to improve graphics performance. Now they're taking much more advantage of your graphic card capabilities to improve 3D graphics. There's been improvements in our isometrics as well. They continue to improve, and some of the improvements include general appearance of the isometric drawings, as well as sloped lines appear as how the sloped lines appear in the drawing. And of course, all the great features I've talked about as well in the AutoCAD 2018, since Plant 3D is built upon the AutoCAD core product. And of course, as we talked before, stay up to date with your Autodesk Desktop App. Make sure you get that latest versions out there and are good to go. Now I'll turn things back over to Scott. Thank you everyone for listening. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jason. I appreciate everybody on the team. Great job. A lot of good tools out there. I want to continue on just with one other thing before we close up. I guess we could call it D3 2018 release. I want to walk through a couple changes on our website, just make sure everybody's aware of it, and a couple of programs such as Evolve, which I believe Thomas had talked a little bit about. So let me pull up our website here and pull it across. Okay, so we was probably, if you've been on our website, you probably know that we definitely have got a reconfigured website. Anywhere you're at on our website, no matter which tab we go to, you will always have the live chat option. This is our live chat support. If you've got support with us and utilize it, you're probably very aware of what the live chat option is. It's a really nice way to communicate back and forth with our techs and be able to even push files back and forth if as needed. Also, if you need to, we have our support tab up here that will bring you just directly into support. It will give you the number to our tech support line. And at the very bottom, if you need to contact technical support, this button will create an email message for you that you can send on to technical support. Thomas had introduced us a little bit to the Evolve program, which is a new program for D3. So if you go to the Learning and you go to the very bottom, you're going to see 2 new panels. We still have our new user training program that we introduced last year, which the real reason for the new user program was if a company has a user coming on board with something such as AutoCAD Electrical or Inventor or AutoCAD, instead of just throwing them into a typical class setup, what we can do is we can offer a certain structure of classes that will onboard them better. Along with that, they can get some mentoring from one of our technical specialists. That's the new user program. We also have, we call it live instructor-led training. This is remote training that can be done from your location if you have the required components. We really require a web camera. We have to have some sort of a microphone. And with that, you have to have at least 5 megabyte per second of internet per attendee. We have a check page that we can send out that verifies that you'll be able to attend and get the optimal results that you would expect. So please, if you've got any questions along the live online, I'll provide my email address and you can contact me if you've got any questions on that. Evolve 360, which is also part of our live training. Evolve 360 is a program for your company that gives access to all design employees, all public events for a full year. D3 is looking to expand and have expanded a lot of the offerings, and we expect to have over 50 different training options. One of those areas that we're really looking to improve upon is the AutoCAD Electrical one, and our specialist Thomas Smith had talked about that. So Evolve is also going to have tracks that will help customers figure out which training they need to be successful at what they're trying to do. So we'll have individual tracks that a customer will be able, or an attendee will be able to follow to get the results they want. That will be on the AutoCAD Electrical, or in the Inventor. And later this year, we expect to be offering a full set of training for Fusion 360. That's the new tool that Ryan Johnson introduced to us yesterday. Fusion 360 is definitely a unique tool. So getting a little bit of training to jumpstart you on that is a great way to do it. If for some reason you do just want to take public classes, if we come up here, you're going to see a list of our public training classes by clicking here. And of course, a list of webinars and seminars such as the one that we've done today. So I hope that gives you a little overview of what D3 has on our website. We also have a blog that Ryan had talked about a little bit yesterday. We plan to expand this. Right now it's got the Fusion 360 blog, but we expect in the next year that we'll be introducing more topics. So with that, I do want to give my email address, scott.dibben@d3tech.net. Once again, I am technical manager. If you've got any questions whatsoever along with any of the things I've discussed, please feel free to contact me. With that, I say thank you. I appreciate your time. I know your time's valuable, and I hope you found some tools that will make you more efficient in the 2018 product. Thank you, and have a great weekend, guys.